gone into the doctor and said, give me this look. Like, because these trans, I don't know, we just call it trans women, look now like the Hollywood girls. They're all getting the same, like the buccal fat removal.
Growing speculation that Meghan Markle went under the knife before her Paris disaster trip designed to traumatize Prince Harry, with that journey through Paris emulating that.
Stop right there. This was never about looks, never has been. If this were only about appearance, the story would have ended years ago. When Candace Owens talked about Meghan Markle, she wasn't counting cheekbones or debating procedures. She went somewhere way more uncomfortable. She questioned the timing. She noticed the pattern, and she asked why.
Meghan Markle. Has she gone under the knife? Let's start by looking at her from the age of 17 to today at the age of 38. Are you seeing any obvious changes here? Well, I'd like to have you focus on her nose and her lips. Those are two areas that we're really going to focus.
Reinvention doesn't show up randomly. It usually hits right after pressure lands. That's why this story refuses to disappear. It keeps coming back because the timing keeps lining up. Nobody woke up angry over cosmetic work. Hollywood is full of it. That's not the surprise. What caught people's attention was something else entirely. A rhythm. A cycle. Disappear. Silence. Then reappear. Sharper face. New look, fresh explanation, then repeat.
Meghan is her teeth. Pretty obvious. She probably did veneers and some work on her teeth. When you see younger pictures of her, she had teeth that had a lot of gaps in them, a little wider, a little smaller, and now she has this really bright, amazing smile. You know, people shouldn't underestimate how much that adds to somebody's look. Not only prettier, but again, younger, just more attractive, everything. So I think it was done well and not overdone, and I think it was a good.
Once people notice a pattern like that, the face stops being just a face. It turns into evidence, not of vanity, but of control. Control of the story, control of criticism, control of perception. Candace gave language to what many people felt but couldn't explain. You can't promote authenticity while editing yourself out of every uncomfortable moment. You can't sell empowerment and then vanish the second pressure hits.
One of the things that's pretty obvious is probably in her 20s or 30s or sometime around, a little bit younger, she did her nose. Rhinoplasty, again, is something that the noses don't naturally shrink, take more contour, the tip doesn't raise, nostrils don't come in on their own. So I'm kind of giving away, but that's what I noticed in her nose. So if we look at her when she was younger, her nose was more bulbous, the nostrils were a little wider, the bridge of her nose wasn't as defined. And then as we move into, like I said, photos of her a little bit older, we see that the nose has shrunk down, the tip looks like possible tip graft and more tip projection, as well as the nostrils narrowing, bridge being more defined. So those are all telltale signs of a rhinoplasty being done.
This isn't about judgment. It's about sequence. Most people missed it, but not you. You sensed the disconnect before the headlines caught up. You noticed how changes lined up with backlash. How reinvention followed controversy on schedule. And here's the question no one seems able to answer. If the image keeps shifting to avoid pressure, what happens when the pressure never stops? To understand why trust started cracking, you have to rewind. Back before the fame, back before the branding, back before the image needed protection. Look at early photos of Meghan Markle. A face still settling in.
Meghan Markle, the royal duchess, is influencing trends worldwide, including plastic surgery.
She's beautiful. I mean, her nose is just striking.
Yes, that nose. Pure perfection.
Softer lines, broader nasal base, rounded tip, full brows. It reads like youth, not strategy. Nothing sharp, nothing sculpted, nothing performing. Pause here. Most people skip past this stage, but you didn't. And this part matters more than it seems. Professionals will tell you rounded or bulbous tips aren't flaws. They are strong, functional, and completely normal. In some cases, they even support healthy breathing. These features didn't need fixing. They were simply anatomy. But in the early 20s, subtle shifts start appearing.
A deep dive into Meghan Markle's ever-changing faces. Same woman, different faces. I have nothing against plastic surgery. God knows if I could afford it, I'd probably have something done. But Meghan Markle takes this to a completely different level. Believe it or not, you're gonna see and you're gonna tell me that if you saw these two women out in the street, you would think that they're the same one.
Tighter hairline, more shaped brows, brighter smile, dental tweaks, possibly veneers. Not shocking, not unusual, but it marks a turning point when observation replaces assumption. This is where things shift from natural growth to intentional polish. From letting the face mature to managing how it reads on camera, fans begin to notice. She already had strong bone structure and full lips, features people pay a lot for later. So, the quiet question forms, why refine what already worked? Because when authenticity becomes a brand, early choices start to carry more weight. This is the setup phase. Planning ahead, thinking long term. Nothing extreme happens yet, but the direction is clear. And once that path is chosen, the changes don't slow down.
And I'm also going to tell you by the end of it what I think about those rumors that she may have had some Botox. Well, here she is at the age of 17, and here she is at the age of 25. And this is who I consider to be the natural young Meghan Markle, before she may have had anything done. And when you take a look at her nose, she has a very characteristic nose. She has a bit of a round tip to her nose, and she has a little bit of width to her nose, which is very consistent with her ethnicity. Also take a peek at her lips. She has nice full lips that anybody would die.
By the mid-20s, the face still looks familiar, but it's no longer untouched. This is the stage people struggle to explain. They say, I can't point to one thing, but something's different. The cheekbones pop a little more in certain photos. The jawline looks tighter. The smile shows. More upper teeth. Even when the face is relaxed, the lips look sharper and more defined without screaming, something's done. That's what makes people pause. On their own, none of these details prove anything. But stacked together, it starts to feel planned. And this stage matters more than most people realize.
I do believe that Meghan Markle did have a conservative rhinoplasty surgery. Now, this nose job did a lot for Meghan Markle. What it did was it brought focus back to her gorgeous eyes and her beautiful smile. A nose really can't make you beautiful because she was already beautiful. This just put the focus back on her other gorgeous features.
Specialists often point out that features people chase later in life, clear tooth show, balanced lip shape, clean definition are already showing up here naturally. These are the same traits people ask for during so-called refresh procedures. But here's the twist. At this point in time, those traits are already present. So, the question quietly changes. It's no longer what was done, but why refine it at all? Why tighten, sharpen, or sculpt something that already looks great on camera? This is where preparation enters the picture, prepping for scrutiny, for close-ups, for red carpets, for a future where every angle gets picked apart. Nothing explodes yet. No headlines, no outrage. But in the viewer's mind, something clicks. They stop seeing natural growth and start seeing intention.
You know, so it's kind of like, it's an obsession with this woman. The same thing for the marriage. Remember when she said that she didn't know anything about the royals, and yet she did an interview way back when she was criticizing Catherine's wedding, saying, oh, that was a big thing, that she didn't need that woman didn't need that spectacle and blah, blah, blah.
These shifts don't read like time passing anymore. They read like steps. One change nudges another and suddenly the whole face feels like it's moving together. By the early 30s, the conversation changes tone. People stop saying she looks different. They start saying that feature isn't the same. And the feature that keeps coming up, the nose. Early images show a wider base, softer bridge, rounded tip.
This is not my area of expertise, but you have been looking into this for some time, and you believe it is true that Meghan Markle has gone under the knife.
Oh yes, I mean, of course she has. She's never actually said I have, but you can see because certain things have changed quite significantly, and she's that sort of woman. She's going to do with it. I mean, the easiest one is to talk about teeth. When she was younger, she had gaps, and now she's got beautiful teeth, and that helps her give us all a lovely shiny smile. So that's that.
Over time, the base looks narrower, the tip more refined, the structure tighter, the profile straightens out. Everything looks cleaner, more controlled. This is where casual guessing fades out. Medical professionals say changes like this don't usually come from makeup, angles or lighting. Narrowing a nasal base or refining a tip requires internal adjustment. Cartilage has to be shaped and secured. That's structural work. And when structure shifts, everything around it shifts, too.